Hi, my name is Justin Odisho, and in this video, I want to give you some tips on working with clients. So I've done my fair share personally, from working with friends all the way to smaller local businesses, all the way up to working with big brands and agencies on putting together videos and content. So whether you're a photo editor, video editor, or whatever type of field you do, especially in the creative industry, here's some tips that I've learned on working with clients. So number one would be learning when to say yes and when to say no to projects. And most importantly, understanding that the power of saying no. So when you're just starting out, you might be more inclined, and I would recommend you do pick up all the different opportunities. You say yes to more things, you build out your network, and this is how you can slowly go from working on jobs that you might not love the people, you might not love the content, but you could slowly develop your portfolio, as they say, or more importantly, your skills, your connections, and you can become known as that person to go to. And I've found some pretty decent opportunities through this way of just being the guy that people know does that kind of creative work, and eventually someone gives you someone's phone number, and you slowly can work your way into more opportunities. However, once you do have some base level of breathing room, I'd say. This is highly dependent on your situation, whether you have bills, what your family situation is. Maybe you have to pay this month's bills, so you have to say yes to as much as you can. But if you do have some breathing room, I would say take that space to say no to stuff. Start valuing your time and understand that you can take a moment to work on your own skills, and going into another point, work as your own client. And the more you wait and say no to stuff, and you're not always occupied with all these odd jobs that you don't want to do, then slowly you can start saying yes to bigger opportunities. Like myself now, since I have my own YouTube channel, I guess let's just go right into point number two, is like, be your own client sometimes. I have my own website, I create content like this, I have my own digital products, and I'm able to say no to a bunch of, I basically don't have to say yes to anything because I can always choose. I'm lucky enough to have built this channel and have found this audience somehow, that I don't have to say yes to whoever wants me to work, because I have the time and space to work on my own content. And then when I do get a good thing come in the email or get a good offer, when I do, I only work with a couple brands a year, and it's something worthwhile. It's larger than those smaller ones all combined, and I'm able to do that because I've built up this network and connections. Think about being able to say no. Every time you say no to a project, try to be your own client. Instead, try to use that time to build up your own skills and network. I saw a really good, I heard a really good point on Twitter. I forgot where I heard it, a podcast. And it was said the best way to network is actually just to work on your own craft. And I find that to be kind of true. I personally don't go out there and network too much. I just build my own content in my own channel, and I've found a huge network of people and opportunities just through building up my own skills and being better at what I do. So the third one, let's go into more technicals. Once you're actually in a project, and this also helps in knowing when to say yes or no, is ask or raise your prices. This sounds really arbitrary, but a lot of times I've noticed, more often than not, as creatives, we undervalue our time. We undervalue how much work is going to go into something. And these points kind of go in tandem. Raising your prices, as well as expecting things that are going to take longer than they will. So we always should plan for more revisions. We should plan for some sort of mishap to happen. The initial price that you usually offer is, if everything goes smoothly, you send your first draft over to the client, they say yes, and everything is good. Like, that never happens. So this is why you should you should value your time more, raise your prices more. And this goes into a lot of clients will say no if you ask for too much. And if you are at the beginning end of your career, maybe you can compromise a bit more, but you always want to be working towards holding your ground and making the clients come to you in a way, or finding those better opportunities. And don't take it for granted. You still have to raise up your skill level and what you're providing and the value competitively in the marketplace to be worth that value. But you want to be kind of working up rather than racing to the bottom and cheapest price. So I find that just simply raising your prices remember, you're negotiating. If you undersell yourself, the client says, yeah, that sounds good, let's do the project. If you double your price, for example, and you say, no, I want X amount, the client, if they're serious, they'll say, that's a little bit higher than we thought, but we did have X amount budget available, and you can meet at that middle point rather than just underselling yourself. But maybe I can make a whole separate video about negotiation. But yeah, if you ask for too much, then you meet a little bit lower, better than asking for not enough and they just say yes right away and you undersold yourself. In this industry, the proof is in the pudding, kind of. You don't need some fancy degree. You don't need all this proof. The proof is, can you deliver me my final video or my final photo? And that's where having some sort of resume or catalog of previous work can help. But at the end of the day, if you can do the job, you can do the job. So these are all kind of general tips. There's definitely more technicals involved, like, contracts and payment terms and whatnot. If you're usually working, let's say, friend to friend or person to person, a lot of things can be done kind of verbally, or just, if you're talking about, hey, make my mixtape cover for a couple $100, if ask for a deposit. There's simple things you can do to protect yourself and your time. Any serious client who's not willing to give you a deposit, I don't know if they'd be a serious client, but if someone scams you out of $100, kind of sucks, but just they kind of scam themselves. Like, don't work with them anymore, and you'll learn these things as you go. And then bigger brands usually will have contracts in place. And as you start working on bigger, more important projects, you can look into creating your own contracts and whatnot. And I'm sure there's other good resources available if you want to dig into those technical things, like where to find contracts and whatnot. So if you enjoyed this video, check out some of my others. I've made one on pricing tips, and maybe I'll make more on negotiation and whatnot if you guys enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.